use an ad hominem directed at my vocabulary is indicative that you are not on steady grounds in terms of this discussion. Why should it matter what words I use? If you're not familiar with the words I use, then I have a handy link for you, and I give him a link to an online dictionary. You don't have the relevant facts at hand, and as such you feel the need to use logical fallacies to distract away from this and try to make it into some battle where he who burns the hottest wins. This is not a battle, this is not a debate. If you knew your stuff here, you would just lay it flat and that would be that. But you used a faulty source and I called you out for it. You don't like this and lashed out with an ad hominem. And the spammer guy says, this is all in capitals, yesterday, conspiracy, and conspiracy spelt with an S before the end Y, nowadays reality. And I respond, I think it's to the other guy with facepalm in between asterisks. I see you think TZM is based upon the 2007 vaudevillian performance, which the video was put up online for. Oh dear. TZM is the identifier for those who advocate the train of thought that advocates a sustainable future for humanity. No conspiracy theories are needed, or even welcome in TZM's materials. Nerd Rage says, challenging your definition of confirmation bias is not an ad hominem. You zeitgeist people still haven't figured out how to properly call out that logical fallacy. You fail twice. And I respond, facepalm again, in asterisks. That wasn't the ad hominem. It was your fancy language comment. Because it doesn't matter what words you use as long as they are the correct ones to accurately illustrate a point and present information. Whether you consider them fancy words is irrelevant, and thus an attempted personal attack to distract away from the topic at hand. Thus the definition of argumentum ad hominem. You zeitgeist people? My, aren't we objective? Just in case you were wondering what an ad hom is, here is some info. And I give him a link to the yourlogicalfallacyis.com page for the ad hominem. Excuse me. But yeah, defines ad hominem as attacking your opponent's character or personal traits in an attempt to undermine their argument. Nerd Rage responds, also, I wasn't challenging your use of the English language. I was challenging your use of terms like confirmation bias, and your response only exposed your ignorance of the ad hominem fallacy. Really? So, if you're calling me out for using fancy words like confirmation bias, and you also use the fancy phrase confirmation bias, what's the problem? Anyway, carrying on, Nerd Rage responds, the only claim I've made is that the Zeitgeist movement is based upon conspiracy theories. Am I wrong? Now, keep this in mind, ladies and gentlemen. I'll read this line again. Nerd Rage, may ensue, says, the only claim I've made is that the Zeitgeist movement is based on conspiracy theories. Am I wrong? Now, that right there, I'd say, is partway to a burden of proof fallacy, because he's stating that he's making a claim, right? And then he's saying, "Am I wrong?" Well, yes, you are wrong. That which, remember Hitchens' razor, people. That which can be asserted without evidence may be dismissed without evidence. But yeah, he says, am I wrong? As if to say, it's down to you to prove me wrong, even though I'm the one who's made the claim. And that is a burden of proof fallacy. Not sure if I called him out for it there. I respond with, okay, dude, this is the last time I'm going to try to reason with you. You ready? I ask for concrete, objective evidence as to the claims about TZM. You linked me an article written by people who want to believe TZM is what they say it is. It's the Skeptic Project page. That will be like me asking you if you're a reliable person and you give me a reference from someone who is completely blind to all your faults. That is otherwise known as the use of confirmation bias. And yes, you are wrong that it is based on conspiracy theories. It is a science and sustainability advocacy movement. Conspiracy theories have no role in that. And his Nerd Rage says, is this not how most members were recruited? And he gives a link to a YouTube video of Zeitgeist the movie, to the 2007 movie. I respond with, nope, because the movement didn't exist until over a year after. And what does that film illustrate about how we can live sustainably? Do you even realise that this link you were commenting on is a different documentary to the one you just linked? Because this thread that we're commenting on, it's a link to Zeitgeist Addendum, and now he's talking about Zeitgeist the movie, completely different. Nerd Rage says, he quotes me in saying, I asked for concrete objective evidence as to the claims about TZM. He said, you didn't ask me for anything. Yes, I did. He quotes me again. You linked me an article written by people who want to believe TZM is what they say it is. He responds, I linked a link about TZM under a thread about TZM. Yeah, I suppose, but I was asking for concrete proof. He then says, I have neither succumbed to confirmation bias nor have I committed the ad hominem fallacy. Yes, I am completely clean of all your accusations. I did nothing that you say I have. He continues to say, is this some sort of new Zeitgeist movement? I don't know about you guys, but the Zeitgeist movement started in 2008. There wasn't anything before that. He then continues, I posted my link to demonstrate my claim that the Zeitgeist movement is based on conspiracy theories. The article itself doesn't prove anything. It makes false claims, uses emotional rhetoric and extremely uninformed assumptions. I respond, quoting him, I quote myself, if anyone can actually meet the burden of proof that TZM is NWO Entity, that will be grand. And then I said, that is what I asked. It seems you missed the actual question and was providing what you consider evidence for a completely different claim. And I have established that your claim about TZM being based on conspiracy theories is utterly absurd. How can you illustrate a train of thought for sustainable living by just using conspiracy theories? That would make for an interesting presentation. That's given me the task to write a parody sketch where I give a presentation about the benefits of vertical aquaponic agriculture by only using conspiracy theories. That would be interesting. And if you link me something that has a vested interest in what you're trying to prove with it, then yes, that is confirmation bias. Just like a Christian trying to prove the Bible with apologetics. And yes, you did succumb to the ad hominem fallacy due to your fancy language remark. Please, let's just stick to reality here. What do you mean, new Zeitgeist movement? How many Zeitgeist movements do you think there have been? And Nerd Rage responds, if anyone can actually meet the burden of proof that TZM is a New World Entity, that would be grand. Oh, yeah, he was quoting me. I wasn't responding to this with my link. This is absurd as there is no NWO. Interesting. So, if you think TZM is based on conspiracy theories and there's no NWO, then, what is going on here? Mark Hirschberger comes back, says, MIHOP, he's describing the acronyms that he was listing earlier, made it happen on purpose, and LIHOP made it happen on purpose and let it happen on purpose. In regards to the so-called 9/11 truth, these are separate ideas and Zeitgeist embraces them both, among other nonsensical ideas. You argue like an infant. Okay. So it begs, and I respond, so it begs the question why you didn't clarify that you were putting your 2 cents in, which is not relevant to the question at hand. Oh yeah, this is me responding to Nerd Rage. Nerd Rage responds, quoting me, and all I've established that your claim about TZM is based on conspiracy theories is utterly absurd. Nerd Rage says, don't lie. Zeitgeist used conspiracy movies to get people interested in the movement. Your old forums were a cesspool of conspiracy theories and other crank ideas. I respond to Mark. Mark, part 2 of Zeitgeist was an exploration of the myth of 9/11. Zeitgeist embraces? I wasn't aware that a vaudevillian performance could embrace anything. And maybe you're forgetting the actual question here, which is in regards to TZM and its supposed NWO links. So why are we talking about a film that was made a year before and is completely different to what TZM is about? And I'll respond to Nerd Rage. Nerd Rage, do you have any evidence for the claim that TZM uses Zeitgeist the movie as a recruitment tool? Can you even explain how Zeitgeist the movie even promotes sustainability? The old forums were open to anyone, and that's one of the reasons it had to be taken down, because it was a magnet for proud conspiracy theorists. And just to let you know, if a conspiracy theorist posts on a message board, that doesn't mean the people who created the forum are an organisation based on conspiracy theories. Mark Hirschberger says, Fed conspiracy theories, pseudo-history, poor scholarship, fallacious logic, it's nothing but nonsense. Blanket assertions. I respond, Mark, you're still not answering my questions and just making vacuous assertions with zero evidence. Your accusations that I argue like an infant is clearly just projection. Sigh. Mark Hirschberger responds, how about the fact that only pseudo-intellectuals took the ideas seriously and none of them understood how old and stupid the ideas are? Another blanket assertion. Nerd Rage says, by the way, you've still failed to demonstrate that I've succumbed to confirmation bias or committed the logical fallacy. Crikey, he really does want to keep his hands clean. And the guy who was spamming something else, CNN/Fox News/BBC/CNBC, History Channel, Origin of Perverted Pseudo-History, Zion Woe sponsored, and OWN. Then Mark Hirschberger says, speaking of infants, then I respond, really? You are able to see into the minds of every person who saw... this is the claim that, no one, only pseudo-intellectuals took it seriously. Really? Are you able to see into the minds of every person who saw the film and you know for certain exactly who took it seriously and who didn't? How do you know this? Can you teach such a power? And you're still not providing any evidence. And what are these ideas you keep speaking of but never really specifying? I respond to Nerd Rage. Nerd Rage, if you scroll up and actually read, then you'll notice I demonstrated it a few times now. How many different ways can I put it before it's understood? Mark Hirschberger says, anti-Fed, anti-religion 9/11 conspiracy theories. Right, okay. Among others, all nonsense. Yeah, anyone can say, yes, it's nonsense, but they need to demonstrate it. Then the guy spamming links puts up this wearechange.org video. Lord Jacob Rothschild confronted. There's that. And then Mark Hirschberger says, some arsehole with a video camera harasses some dude on the street. Wow, that blows the case wide open. I would agree, actually. I respond, I see. So you think being critical of a private bank which has implemented a pyramid scheme onto the financial system is nonsense, that exploring the myths of religion and the myths of both the official version and the conspiracy theories on 9/11 is nonsense. So here's the problem with your situation here, Mark. You have no evidence to back up these claims. Otherwise, you would provide details. But instead, you're forced to just say it's nonsense in as many different ways as your patience can manage. And what does this have to do with TZM? I'm still waiting. Nerd Rage says, posting a link that discusses and debunks conspiracy claims of the Zeitgeist movement is not confirmation bias, and fancy language was only in reference to your usage of confirmation bias, and not an ad hominem attack. Yeah, well, in that case, you're also guilty of it, because you use the phrase as well, so... Anyway, moving on. The guy who's spamming things. First sign the NWO in panic. They on defence. Their own puppet government completely lost people on the streets. Don't have a trust in their media and waking up everywhere around the globe. NWO masters afraid of their weary existence. Praying for mass unrests. FEMA. And then all in caps. Revolution coming 2016. US election will spread to Europe, Canada. Yeah. It's just strings of claims and prophecies. It's strange. Nerd Rage says, my only claim was that the Zeitgeist movement is based on conspiracy theories, which you have just verified with this statement. So do you think, and he quotes me saying, do you think being critical of the program languages implemented a pyramid scheme, blah, 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 and then he says, let me guess, you're only asking questions. Now, this is something the Truth movement give as a sort of justification. Oh, we're just asking questions. I respond, Nerd Rage, see, this is where you're wrong. You see, the movement has never made any conspiracy claims. You are confusing the movement with the movie. Are you aware that TZM cannot be based on conspiracy theories, as I have already explained, because conspiracy theories are distractions. They are not tools for creating a sustainable world. I think you need to watch this video to understand, because Brooklyn College deliberately tried to conflate TZM with the 2007 performance, which then became Zeitgeist the movie. And I give a link to Peter Joseph. I think it was Peter Joseph's critique of that video article. Seriously, dude, you really need to get your facts straight. Yeah, it was Peter Joseph responds to 60 Minutes Brooklyn Co-Expo, the Zeitgeist movement. Mark Hirschberger says, your whole argument is you haven't given me any evidence while giving us evidence. Your movement is based on conspiracy theories. And guys, some guy called Donnie Freeman says Zeitgeist is a fraud, disinfo and controlled opposition at work. I respond, oh dear, so do enlighten me. How can one explain how we can have a sustainable standard of living for all humanity and advocate that only by using conspiracy theories? Come on, I really want to know, because I'd love to have some comedic material. And Donnie, you're going to have to do better than just making claims here. You have to provide this annoying thing called evidence. Calling it a fraud is just words. It's not proof. And I say, come on, Mark, what does a presentation about the merits of science and sustainability composed exclusively of conspiracy theories sound like? This should be a laugh. Donnie Freeman says, lol, I will be back to Moz. It's late and am tired, but it's pretty obvious. Okay. I respond, of course, Donnie, the request for evidence always directly precedes the bedtime of those who make these claims. You see, I'm starting to, come to the end of my rope here. And no, it's not pretty obvious. In order for that to even have any merit as a truth claim, it needs to be backed up with facts. You might as well say, 'cause it is, and turn your nose up while walking away to bed. Some guy called Taylor Lehmans. Oh yeah, this is the quote that I was going to read before. Brace yourselves, guys, because this is going to get a bit bumpy. Taylor Lehmans says, Zeitgeist is a fraud. Even seen the last Zeitgeist? Offers a nice NWO utopia with no cars or ability to own property. Probably get an RFID chip when you arrive. I don't need proof to call Zeitgeist a fraud, nor do I need proof for any other opinion I have. Yeah. Tell you what, I just think about that for a moment. I don't need proof to call Zeitgeist a fraud, nor do I need proof for any other opinion I have. I suppose he is right in the sense that, you don't need facts to have an opinion. because anyone can have an opinion. You know, opinions are like arseholes. Everyone's got one. But whether they, you know, whether they're just saying, "Oh, this is just my opinion," and they're not trying to assert it and convince others that their opinion is true. If they're not trying to do that, then go ahead, have your opinion. So what? What does that matter now? What does that opinion matter to anything? Now that if you agree that it, you know, there's no point in trying to convince anyone of it because it's just your opinion. Anyway, I respond, "Okay, Taylor, the moment someone openly admits to discounting proof for what they hold is true, I can tell you don't care about what is true." John Meeson says, this is the guy that was spamming. Says Zeitgeist, and he spells Zeitgeist Z-I-E-T, is a good food for thought, but can be implemented after global revolution. Interesting. I respond, "So I take it that's the best case that can be made against TZM. It's clear that people don't seem to know the difference between the first film and TZM. Shame, really." Oh yeah, this is me talking to no one in particular. Some guy called Adrian Ryan says, "Well, my ideas are free, my bad. My bad if you don't feel the same way." And he says, "Oh man, wrong post." Oh, okay. Mark Hirschberger says, "Is this still a thing?" And there's some innate chatter. And then Mark Hirschberger says, "This silly argument about the failure that is TZM." I respond, "Mark, aren't you referring to your failure to prove anything you've asserted? Besides, how can something be deemed to be deemed a failure if it hasn't completed its task yet? Failure is what happens when you finish and haven't accomplished your goal." Oh yeah, this one guy, he was just saying stuff and just wasn't understanding. I think, you know, we got this wires crossed. How can I not watch it? And a bunch of people say, "Hey, what's this? 7 years ago." Oh yeah, that's Mark Hirschberger that's saying that. He basically thought that that TZM existed 7 years ago. Mark Hirschberger then says, "TZM is a blip on the radar of fringe movements. It hasn't met any goals and never will meet any goals because it's full of bad ideas that only internet slacktivists take seriously." And that was, yeah. And then I respond, yeah, sorry, it's taken me a while to go through these because these kind of threads can get really confusing because some people post and it's relevant and some people post and it's completely not relevant, and it's really difficult to keep on top of it. So, you know, I will be coming to the end of this pretty soon because it's just going around in circles. But anyway, I'll carry on. I respond to Mark, I think, "Wow, a fair few assertions there, Mark. Would I be correct in assuming you have zero evidence for these as well?" Mark Hirschberger says, "I've addressed your apparent need for evidence by pointing out your faulty self-contradictory logic earlier." Your apparent need for evidence. He's addressed my... See, that just doesn't make any sense, does it? Anyway, 7 years and getting nothing done spells failure to me. Now, considering that the Zeitgeist movement has been around for about a little over 5 years at this point, March 2014, so probably 5.5 years this Zeitgeist movement has been around. I respond, "Even if that has an answer, you would only be addressing me, not substantiating your claims. The definition of ad hominem. And TZM has only existed for 5 years." And then this other guy comes in. It's really, and then Mark Hirschberg, right? This is the first time that he's admitted that he's wrong. Okay. He said, Mark Hirschberger says, okay, 5 years of nothing done still spells failure. See, he hasn't really admitted that he's wrong, but he has changed his story now. I respond, so do you admit you were incorrect as to when TZM started? And then all this Adrian guy... Yeah, sorry about this. I just have to scroll through this because this guy was talking about something, and I'm just like, what? He was talking about TMZ, and I'm like, that's a news channel. Anyway, Donnie Freeman comes back in with, I didn't need any YouTube videos to make it clear to me Zeitgeist and the Venus Project are the deception, but maybe you will, Adam Zeitgeist Antium. And he gives a YouTube link to Zeitgeist and TVP Investigated 1. Some YouTube video. And then he links another one. Zeitgeist Exposed, Hear the Real Truth. Another YouTube post, I think. And then he posts another YouTube link from the channel Axis for Peace, and I've spoken to this individual before, and they're a troll. The video is entitled Zeitgeist, Their Overpopulation Lie versus the Truth. And then I respond with this thing in... I mean, it would have been better if I'd made a meme for this, but basically I post a meme, but in text form, and between asterisks. Claims he doesn't need YouTube videos for proof. ... Links several YouTube videos to prove a point. That would have been better as a meme, but I didn't have enough time to make a meme. Donnie Freeman then links another YouTube video, Jesuit/Vatican Zeitgeist exposing some deceptions, and then says, what's up? Do you have trouble researching? These are perfect starting points, lol, and watch a documentary called Zeitgeist and believe it's the answer to the world's problems without questioning it. Now who's the fool? Okay. I respond, you're going to have to do better than this, Donnie. For one thing, I think you need to find a way to reconcile the two end goals of the NWO and that of TZM. In case that's a little confusing to you, here they are. NWO, eliminate a vast percentage of the population and rule over whoever's left. TZM, to help shift humanity into a free and sustainable paradigm where everyone has their life needs met. Methinks you have conflict there. Mark Hirschberger says, TZM wants to do rule what's left after the limitations in the system it proposes kill off millions due to incompetence and bad design after not lifting a finger to change anything because fixing problems would mean admitting tacitly that the proposed system doesn't work. Strange claim. Donnie Freeman says, lol, you think what you want. I will sit here and revel in your complete and utter ignorance to do any research because you're afraid it may shatter your illusions. I respond, facepalm, I watched Zeitgeist and see a 3-part treatment about myths in our species' history. There are no solutions in Zeitgeist. The Zeitgeist movement, on the other hand, that advocates for a natural law/resource-based economy. As you can see, there are two separate things. That is, unless everything with the name Zeitgeist, and I put in in brackets, Google Zeitgeist, former ISO Hunt's Zeitgeist Trend Calculator, the album by the Smashing Pumpkins, and a track on the latest Black Sabbath album, is one and the same with the 2007 film Zeitgeist, right? Donnie Freeman then says, you keep doing what you're doing, Mr. Zeitgeist, but you know you're going in the wrong direction. I know I'm going in... You see, this is the kind of rhetoric that they use. It's like, stop lying, you know you're wrong, We all, no one likes you. You know, just, Mark Hirschberger says, there is nothing natural about anything Zeitgeist proposes. I respond.